This month, the latest Willy Wonka film has dropped in theaters. So today I'm going to stop and rank all 4 Willy Wonka films from the worst to the best. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your ranking of the Willy Wonka films. My list is not the right list. It's just my list, and I would love to see yours. One more thing before we get started. Today's video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is the way that I read books. I like to read with my ears, not my eyes, and so I'm a massive fan of Audible, and you can get a free audiobook of your choice by signing up for a free trial of Audible at audibletrial.com/Sean Chandler. They have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as well as many other Roald Dahl classic books, and you can get one for free at that link down below in the description. I am an Audible user. I have been since August of 2015. I do recommend them, and let's get started. In last place, Tom and Jerry, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Sometimes when I'm prepping my rankings, I discover that there are additional movies in a franchise that I was unaware of. That was the case with this particular set. I didn't know that there was a Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka movie from 6 years ago. And so I put the trailer on and my wife immediately goes, "Is this real? Is this a real thing that exists?" And it is. This is a beat for beat remake of the 1971 film, except with Tom and Jerry mashed into it. I mean, it's got all the songs, it's copying the dialogue, it's copying the dance numbers. 'Cause I got a golden ticket. But it stops to have Tom and Jerry slapstick bits in the middle of it, which, if that sounds bizarre and like it makes absolutely no sense to you, it also is bizarre and makes absolutely no sense as a movie. It's also 20 minutes shorter than the live action version. While mashing Tom and Jerry into it, they do add an extra little subplot about Slugworth being more involved in some stuff to add more hijinks with Tom and Jerry, where Tom and Jerry are trying to save Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and everything like that. But otherwise, it has all of the plot beats of the live action one in a shorter movie. So it just feels like it's just flying through plot beats, just trying to hit all the things it's supposed to hit. And then, you know, Tom and Jerry are hitting each other on the head with frying pans. So none of it works. There's no way in which Tom and Jerry complement the Chocolate Factory story. Likewise, the Chocolate Factory doesn't exactly set up great scenarios for Tom and Jerry if you're trying to still beat for beat hit every moment from the live action film. So this is a total miss. It is an interesting disaster because it's such a strange thing to exist.
There is no life I know to compare with your imagination.
But that's the only thing that it offers. The novelty of this weird Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka animated movie. Third, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now, on paper, the idea of Tim Burton and Johnny Depp teaming up to do a new adaptation of the Roald Dahl classic book seemed like a good idea. Over 30 years had passed, their quirky, eccentric nature seemed like they might be the perfect pairing to adapt this specific book in the 21st century, but I don't think that there is anything in this movie that I prefer over the 1971 film. It just feels like a series of miscalculations. Things that should work so much better than they actually do. And that goes from the new Oompa Loompa songs from Danny Elfman that are designed after different genres of music rather than their own kind of own musical vibe to them. Whether that's the decision to heavily focus in on Willy Wonka's relationship with his dad, none of it worked for me. None of it is compelling to me. None of it added something new to this story. And almost the idea of trying to humanize Willy Wonka and make him seem like just another misunderstood person makes him less interesting and doesn't mesh with the absurdity of the whole situation. That he's a guy that, he was hurt by his dad and therefore he's trying to earn the respect of his father. Like, I don't need that for Willy Wonka. And it's the path that Tim Burton always goes down. He likes to he's very fascinated by these reclusive weirdos, frequently played by Johnny Depp, and he keeps trying to convert all of his protagonists into that. And it doesn't always work. And in the case of this movie, I just don't think he had anything new or interesting to offer. And it just lost the magic. Some of it even just felt like the mandates of a 21st century blockbuster, where if you watch the original 1971 film, the star of the movie, the title character, does not show up in the film until it's half over. And in this movie, even though it's called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka is very much the lead character. He shows up much earlier in the film, whether just in little blurbs where he appears, thus also the story kind of kicking into motion. The character arc is now Willy Wonka, not Charlie. And so it lost a lot of elements that were important so that we could make our movie star Johnny Depp front and center. And I don't think that served the story. And so you just get this weird version of it that no one prefers over the original one. That my 9-year-old daughter, who's watched the 71 film quite a few times, watched this one for the first time last week, and she was like, I don't like any of this. He's just weird and creepy. These songs don't fit. What's going on with all this stuff about a dentist? Just ranted about the movie. It was hilarious. Our runner-up, Wonka. And to be perfectly clear, there's a big gap between Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Wonka, because I do not like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I thought that Wonka was very charming and delightful. Now, when I first heard about it, I was like, really? A Willy Wonka prequel? What are we doing? You're going to answer questions nobody's asking about Wonka. Why are we doing this? And I saw the trailer and I went, that actually seems like there might be a little bit of a spark to that. And what this movie does well is that it really does its own thing with the Wonka character. Aesthetically, it's very much trying to feel like the 1971 film. Of course, the Oompa Loompa design, some of the songs that appear, like there's absolute direct references to the 71 film.
Nope, scratch that, reverse it.
But it's a very different look at Wonka and his early joy in creating candy for children and his love for chocolate. And it's so silly, it's so playful, it's so whimsical that it just puts a smile on your face. We're in this world where people are bribed off with chocolate and there's big, gigantic conspiracy theories. It's intentionally absurd. It's ridiculous, but in the same way that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory has all these ridiculous Roald Dahl elements to it, and it just goes for it. It commits to it. And that's the whole cast are committed to their roles.
Oh, I don't think I want to hear that.
Too late. And Timothy Chalamet, who does a lot of very serious roles. Here, he's committed to being silly, to being playful, and he's so energetic. And everyone is. And so it's a movie that's just lighthearted and fun for the entire family. This isn't really my kind of thing. Generically speaking, I wouldn't be drawn to a movie like this, but I had a really good time with it, and so did my daughter.
Chloe, what did you think about it?
I really liked it because it used a bunch of combinations of feelings, and then it kind of just put it all into one movie, and it put it at the right moments, the right times. It just had a good sense. It was very silly. It was fun. It was a musical, and I like musicals. So I think it was really good.
And the word that just keeps coming to mind is charming. So if you're in the mood for kind of just a good family movie this holiday season, keep Wonka in mind. Right, Chloe? Yeah.
But of course, coming in at number 1, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the classic 1971 adaptation of the book. And this is a movie that many of us grew up watching. I grew up watching it. And it's a film that has so many iconic, memorable elements to it that have just become part of the popular culture that everyone knows the Oompa Loompa song and melody.
Oompa Loompa Doompa-dee-da.
Everyone knows the Candyman can. Everyone knows these elements. There's so many quotable lines in here. As we've moved into the last 10 years, so much of it is so memeable that you could just put it on the internet and it just works in the modern era despite being over 50 years old now. And it's a movie that still works for all ages. My in-laws, my wife's parents, showed this movie to our kids while our kids were staying over there. And Chloe, my middle child, absolutely loved it and has rewatched it multiple times. She was excited to go see Wonka with me. And so despite being over 50 years old, it still just has that spark of magic to it that it connects with people, and not in a way that is immediately obvious in a lot of, if you stop and think about the movie. Rewatching it, Willy Wonka does not show up until the movie is half over. They don't go into the chocolate factory until the movie is half over. The whole first half of the film is all about the quest to find a golden ticket. But it's still interesting. It's like all this stuff we think about with the movies in the back half, but that doesn't mean that the first half is dull or boring. It still works on its own terms.
'Cause I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden ticket.
And then when you do get to the factory, as much as this is a movie that parents and grandparents have been showing to their kids for 50 years, it's kind of creepy and disturbing in ways that's like, this grown man seems very nonchalant about all of these children that he's putting in peril. People have been freaked out by the boat ride and his little monologue and the chicken heads getting cut off for years and decades. But there's still something so endearing about the entire thing that it's a movie that doesn't shave off the rough edges. It has like a dark side to it.
And they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing.
It's still charming and playful. It's memorable. It's quotable. It's not optimized to get to the movie star as fast as possible. And for that reason, it's just something that's really good and timeless. So rewatching it, it's like, wow, this movie really holds up. This is really good. And it's probably been 15 years since I last watched it prior to watching it last week. And it's just a great film. That's why it stood the test of time. That's why people still love it. And that's why we're still trying to do adaptations of it. So it comes in at number 1. Remember, you can get a free audiobook for signing up for a free trial of Audible at audibletrial.com/Sean Chandler. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.